with the assignment of going out and talking to someone on the street or in a cafe or wherever and asking the 3 opinions questions, right? Like basically, hey, excuse me, what are the first 3 things you think of when you see me? I'm unoffendable. You can say anything, okay? After you say that, right, hey, excuse me, what are the first 3 things you think of when you see me? Who do you think is more nervous, you or them? Yeah, why? They're the ones that you're like, oh my God, I'm doing this ridiculous thing, and then it just turns around, right? And they are more nervous. Why? They don't want to offend you, right? Ben? They have to think of something.
They're curious about your motives.
They're curious about your motives. Right. So we very easily did what? We put a lot of pressure on somebody else. It's very easy to put pressure on somebody else, and sometimes we do this without knowing. And today I want to talk about how we can start taking pressure off of somebody. Okay? So how do we start taking pressure off of people when we meet them? Because I want the person around me who takes social pressure off, right? So, Anthony, if you can get up here a second, I can show an example of this. So if you saw, just take a step and face me.
Yeah. Completely
face me. Okay, you know what? Actually, I just want to make sure we have enough room and no one hits the TV right there. Okay. So if you saw Anthony and I from across the room, and we were standing like this. I was like this and he was like this. Who here has status? Who has higher status? Just from basing this across the room. Me or Anthony?
You.
I do. Why?
You're open. You are not facing.
Right. So pay attention to the investment here. Right? So a dialogue that might go through someone's head from far away is Anthony's like, Eric, hey, right? And I'm like, what? Right? That's an exaggerated way of looking at it, but I want you to think about how this might come across and how the other person might feel and how this person is feeling or acting. This is not the goal. I don't want you to be a dick, right? But I want you to understand how investment and how body positioning can make a difference. And also, I want to start thinking about the pressure we put on each other. Okay? So for instance, if I happen to be walking like this and Anthony walks up to me like this, now he's putting a shit ton of pressure on me. Right? So if I ask someone the 3 opinions question, meaning that I'm going to be also asking a question, what I want you to start thinking about before I show this is I want you to start thinking about your eye contact and your eyes. It's like a car. Your eye contact, let's use a car analogy. Your eye contact and your eyes are high beams on a car. Okay, the high beams when it's really dark. Okay, high beam headlights. Okay, and I want the insides of your shoulders, those are going to be the low beams. Okay, so you also have low beams coming out from your armpit, inside of your shoulders area. Okay, and your voice is going to be like a horn, right? So if I'm going to do the 3, and if I'm going to ask a question, which is putting pressure to answer, if I want to put a ton of pressure on someone, right, what can I do? I can put all 3 of those, the whole car infrastructure on Anthony, right? I can be like, hey, quick question. What are the first 3 things you think of when you see me? Right? And yeah. I can put, even if I'm not that far, I'm still putting a ton of pressure on him if I'm giving him strong eye contact and all my headlights on him. Okay? So something we can do, and I want you to start thinking about this, is depending on how warm or cold, how new or old, how surface or how deep the relationship already is with that person, you can take off or put on more pressure, right? If I was with my best friend and I'm like, dude, guess what happened? They're not going to freak out, right? But if it's somebody that I barely know, I'm going to be putting a lot of pressure on someone. So I want you to start thinking about this. So a way that we can approach newer people or people that we have not spent a lot of time with is we start thinking about angles. Okay, so we can start thinking about angles. So Anthony's going to be there at a networking event, and I want to introduce myself, right? So after, you can do you can put a lot of pressure on for the introduction because we want, especially in a business context, strong eye contact, handshake, direct, straightforward kind of introduction. I can be like, hey, how's it going? I'm Eric, and with strong eye contact, handshake, and then I can come to the side. All right, and this would be good for a networking event, depending on how many people are there and what the angle is and what furniture and things are around. But if you're at the side at about maybe 110-degree angle or something, the point is that you're creating a little bit of of taking that car pressure off of them, and you can still be strong and have great conversation and have eye contact with them. But in the beginning, you can keep it a little bit more comfortable so this pressure is coming off of them. A couple things to think about. This is going to set us up really well for touch when we learn touch, okay? And it also creates a us two against the world type situation where I'm not able to see what's behind him and he's looking behind me. It's going to kind of create a way of looking out at the event or the bar or the world or the view or whatever is going on, right? We'll talk about what happens if there's multiple people as well. It's also going to set up touch, and it's also going to allow you to use your arms a little bit more because when you use high points, it's going to be kind of hard to do this type of thing in front of someone where if I can be like, oh, the mountains were huge, right? And I can project and I have a lot of space for that. Now, there's a couple things with this angle. You can start playing with the angle, okay? So if introduce myself, we start getting along in a conversation, okay? What if Anthony really starts enjoying you and trusting you? He's going to start moving in a little bit, right? He's going to start facing you more and talking to you more. And your goal is not to be like, haha, I got him, right? Right? If you would like to invest as well, you can play with that. You can start mirroring, and mirroring's the wrong word. You can start also investing in him. I actually don't recommend mirroring. Anyone ever hear of mirroring? Yeah, so I don't recommend mirroring somebody. Okay, even though there's a lot of debate on it, but when you're mirroring someone, you're actually becoming the follower. Okay, you're actually kind of becoming the follower. Yes, you can have similar energies to them and projection and obviously, volume and animation. You can play with those things depending on your goals. But don't be thinking about, and plus, you get caught doing the same things as them. It really backfires because a lot of people know about it. So I want you to lead, and I want you to kind of run what the speed is that you're feeling and see if it matches theirs, and you can play with that, okay? So once trust starts happening and then you want to invest in them, it's showing that now we have this trust and we're comfortable doing this, right? Yeah. And now we have this great conversation. From across the room, someone's going to be like, those two are in the zone, okay? And you can even be the first to turn in as well. Right? If you really like the person and you want to create more trust, you can slowly come in a little bit and see if they want to. If you completely start turning and they're turning away, right? Then you can back off a little bit as well. And something I also like to do is keep my inside foot a little bit forward than my back. Okay, this is a cool little trick. So if you really want to start taking pressure off of people, you can get in a position like this and you can lean back. So you can give them space, right? You can be talking about whatever's going on, but you can be leaning back a little bit, and then you can kind of come in for some tip you have to give them and then come back. All right, so the leaning of this is also, the capability of leaning here is going to give you a lot of management and influence in your distance to them. Right? You might want to lean in forward and see if they're really comfortable, and then you can come in also. That's also, if you're leaning in and they're comfortable, this will start setting up touch for later, right? If you lean in and they're, obviously if you lean in and they're like, whoa, then you can be like, cool, it's not time to touch, or I have to give them a little bit more space. You can start reading that, okay? So I want you to think about those terms and think about those angles, right? If there's multiple people, Obviously, sometimes it's a circle. You're already going to be side to side with most people. But I want you to think about how much pressure you put on people